I have to deal with this guy every day, I don't share the same interests, I don't share the same views, but since I have to be in the same space with him every day for 40 hours every week, at least let me try to understand him.
Right.
Let me try to understand the way that he does things, the things that he thinks about, and why he does what he does. Right. Let me try. I may not genuinely care,
right,
but at least I'm going to make an effort. Feels like ages, man.
Yeah, I know.
The boys are back.
I can feel a little rust.
The boys are back. We're just shaking up the dust. Like, if you see a whole bunch of dust coming off.
That's a lot of fucking dust, man. I mean,
that's just all this stuff. Yeah, we haven't actually recorded anything. You know, of course, pandemic, schmandemic.
Work, life.
All together. Everything all done together. You know, we thank God we've all been safe, you know, keeping safe, keeping healthy, best we can, best we know how. But we're back, and good gracious, there's a lot to talk about. We just jumped back into this thing. We didn't do no there's no pre-podcast conversation, which
anything
usually gets us all like,
ready to go about
revved up
or something, but
so
exactly. It would have been like so much again after election and again conspiracy theories, fraud, all that kind of crazy stuff. We ain't even got to dive right into that.
No,
because that's a mess. That's a mess.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, I don't know. Maybe start with something a little lighter.
Something lighter. How have you been? There you go.
Well, I mean, I've been good. I've been good. I can't complain. I had a birthday yesterday, another year.
All right.
You know, thank God for that. You know, lots of love came in from a lot of different people, places. You know, sometimes I'm like, do I know all these people? But
hey, it's random.
No, but you know, it's a good thing when you think, you know, not a whole lot of people care about you, but then people always show their love and support when they need to, which is a great thing, you know. So I just thankful for that, thankful for family, you know. You know, Thanksgiving was good. Ate late, but you know, still good. Didn't have to work this year, which is amazing.
Everybody there is COVID free too.
Yeah. You know, families all staying safe. You know. We're not being defiant and like, we're gonna gather at all costs by all means.
Exactly. Have like 20 people in the same place. Situation.
No, we're not doing that.
Because again, as long as you're logical with it and just follow the rules, it should be okay. But,
and that's the most part. You know, it's like keep yourself safe as best as you can, as best as you know how. Don't really put yourself in situations you don't need to be in.
Right.
You know, I still see a lot of people just trying to go out and do things, and I'm like, and they want that sense of normalcy, but the truth is, come to grips with it. Normal, as we used to think about it, is over, and it's not coming back. It's sad to say, but the quicker you get used to that, the better it will be for you to be able to deal with things, handle life from this point going forward, because people go, I just want to get back to normal. I'm like, there's no normal anymore. This is the new normal.
Right.
Like, and it's going to be for a long time.
Yes.
You know?
And is that not what, like, human beings do, though? Do we not just evolve and adapt to, like, situation changing over time?
That's what we do.
Yeah, because you can think back to, years ago I used to hang out with, these friends, and we always used to go and do these things over time and stuff like that, but 5-10 years later, things change.
Exactly.
People have kids, people have careers.
Yep.
You gotta adapt to like the change that life throws at you. So you can't be like, I want to get back to that normal back then.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking kids now, so there is no getting back to that. You just adapt and warp your life to what new thing you got now.
Yep, and this is the new normal, man. So you gotta get used to it. It's changed a lot of things. Some for good, you know. Some maybe not so much, but again, you know, you make the best out of it. You don't cry with spilt milk. Like, I mean, you mop it up and get another gallon.
Yeah,
I mean,
take it like a man.
You know what I mean?
Right. That's all there is.
You know, like, I mean, That's all you can do. So I try to tell people, I'm like, look, it's not going back to normal. I don't care what you say, what you do.
Right.
It's not going back to that normal. People don't really make physical contact like they used to do anymore. Now it's like you may, if you're adventurous, you do the fist bump or the elbow thing, like, and those are people that are adventurous. Like the ones that are not, just nah, man, I'm good. Keep your 6 feet.
Right, like
hey, they'll do one of those, and I mean, I don't blame them.
Right.
Especially if you really don't know the person, you don't know where they've been. It's good to be on the more cautious side than to be like, oh, I want a new normal. I'm just going to do what we used to do. Give me a hug, give me a dap, and then
Right. Plus, you gotta weigh again the cost and benefit too, because for you might be like, all right, I want to get back to normalcy yourself, but when you're walking out and you see like a little old lady with a mask on her, so it's like, it's not about you, it's about other people as well. So for you, you can go out and do your thing, but what if that old lady dies because of your actions?
Exactly.
Is that fine?
And that's the part that a lot of, if you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for other people.
Right. So a little compassion.
And I mean, this pandemic, it's really, when you sit back, it's really like, it really shows you the mindset of people, how people are thinking. I mean, some people are thinking the same lines, like, you know what, even though I know that I'm probably good, but I'll do it because, I got a sick grandmother at home, or I got an older person that I'm always around, so I'll do it for them. And then you have that other side that's like, I really just don't care, yada, yada, yada. And then you have the I call them the bat nut, group that just thinks this whole thing is still a hoax.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Like Mike Tyson said, it's all fun and games until somebody get punched in the mouth.
Yeah. By him.
Exactly.
Like, oh, shit.
It's all fun and games until that first punch hits you, and it's like, whoa, wait, hold up.
Right.
I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't ready for this.
Yeah, but it shouldn't take that. But for a lot of people, it does. It takes it until it becomes personal for them.
Yeah.
Until they actually realize it. But
and
I don't know. I forgot where it was, but I was like looking at somebody reporting inside of like one of the states about like, basically one of the healthcare professionals or so, and she was just like, oh yeah, they had like a big mass gathering and stuff like that out there, and people are convinced that coronavirus isn't an actual thing. And with her being a healthcare professional, she's in the hospital watching people on their deathbed or so, and she's just like, okay, do you want me to call in your family? And those people are just like, no, don't call in my family. Like, it's just a cold or so like that. It must be something else. I'll be all right. And like, she's seen the symptoms. She's seen this over and over again. But the people refuse to believe that, oh, I actually have the coronavirus, and that's what's causing me to debilitate like this.
Yeah, and and it's sad because like I tell people, like, I mean, listen, even the people that do believe in God, because we have that side again that they believe in God and the Bible and Jesus, which I do. I'm not knocking them for that, and then they say, oh, earthly wisdom is stupid wisdom. Not really, because Solomon was the wisest man who lived, and he had a lot of earthly wisdom, and some of the things that we do say today still comes from Solomon, but in that respect as well, like, I mean, don't tempt your faith and don't tempt God.
Right.
Because the truth about it is, when it comes to that, what I tell people is, you think you have faith, but you don't have enough faith to back up what you're doing. And if you don't have enough faith to back up what you're doing, don't do it. Everybody's faith level is different. Like, everybody's belief system is different. So if I believe that, listen, even if God forbid I do get it or whatever, God's going to heal me. That's one thing. Now, if I believe that, that's fine. Now, because you believe, what I believe, like in God, same God and stuff, if your belief is like, well, I think if I believe it, if I get it, I think I'm going to die. If that's your belief, don't do what I do.
Right.
Because guess what? You are going to check out of here.
Right.
Because that's what you believe. Because even the Bible tells you that it will be done to you according to your belief. So if in your head you're thinking, well, if I catch this thing, it's over for me. Like, I don't think like that, and my faith level is different. But at the same token, I'm not out there like, oh, I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm not, I'm not going to sanitize my hand. I don't care. I still wear a mask. I sanitize my hand. I carry one. There's one of me. There's one in my car. There's like a plethora at home, and I always refill them. So it's like, you still have to do what you have to do, and then the part that you can't do, then you let God take care of that part if you believe in God. You know what I mean? So even that, like, and then you still have churches that want to, huddle up and gather without a mask, and I'm like, okay, come on, like, let's be realistic. Like, not everybody that goes to church believes like that. Let's be honest. Right. Not all of them believe like that. Again, your faith level. Oh, well, my pastor's not wearing a mask, and he says that God is going to heal me. So guess what? I'm not going to wear a mask because God's going to heal me. But secretly, you're like, okay, I really don't want to catch this thing. I'm really petrified of the thing. If I catch it, I don't know, man.
Right. And there's like a lot of elderly people that go to church.
Exactly. So. And it's like, okay, yeah, now you guys are just pushing the envelope, because, you're still human at the end of the day, this is what I tell people, whether you believe in God or not, everybody's got to die, and you have to check out one way or the other. Like, there's 6 million ways to die, choose one right here. It's got to be, you got to go out one way. Like, you're not going to just, not every one of us is, going to have that pleasure of just go to sleep one day and don't wake up the other, which they say is peaceful. Even some people who believe in God like strongly and they dedicate their whole life to, doing the will of God and God's work. They passed away from illnesses where people have prayed, try to pray it away, they fasted away. But at the end of the day, you got to realize, okay, if you come into this world, you have to leave one way. You can't. There's got to be. God has to make an exit way for you to get out. And
it's not always going to be pleasant.
It's not always going to be pleasant. Some of the disciples in the Bible that died, they died the worst kind of death. They were stoned to death.
Right.
Like, that's a horrible way to die. But again, because of their faith and the belief, they did it gladly, and they said before they died, they said, God, don't take it out on this people. They don't know. It's just chuck it up to ignorance, which is again. I'm a believer, but it's kind of going to be a little hard for me if I'm in that situation. Not to pick up a few of those rocks and lunch it back.
Right.
But I don't know if I'm right at that point yet. I'm trying to get there, but I don't know if I'm like, I might be that type of guy. I'm not going out without. I'm going down swinging.
Right, exactly. It's just like, who are you to be casting stones at me? I know you got some dirty laundry too.
Exactly. So
I know you got some.
So I'm not doing that. I might go back. I might go out swinging, and then it let me be like, okay, God, maybe I was wrong to swing, but I need to punch this one guy in the face first before I come see you.
I'm not going down without taking that.
And hey, listen, I'm just being completely real. I'm human, but again, I don't think, in my mind, it's a great thing. It's noble. It's what you have to do. But like I said, I don't think I'm quite just there at this very moment. You know what I mean?
Okay, I can just
exactly. I can just just ball up and take it and just be like, all right, Lord, open the gates. I'm coming home.
I don't think many people are. Even people who think that they would. Once they get in that situation, that's when your back against the wall and your life is on the line. And you're like, okay.
You still got that human instinct that's going to automatically kick in and be like,
fight for survival.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of the things too, is that, like you said, like, a lot of people can have faith that, okay, God is going to heal me or so, but even then, I would still say that it always comes back down to the compassion, because somebody might have faith that God, completely have faith that God is going to heal them, but what about the person next to you? The person that doesn't go to church, the person that doesn't believe in that.
Exactly.
So you can believe that you can catch it, but God will heal you, but what about catch it, give it to that person, and then even if you do get healed, that person doesn't.
And you bring up a really great point, because that's the compassion part, again, that you have to think of, and some of those people don't think like that, because they just think it's me, and I'm like, okay, when you think like that, that's not even the lines of, biblical terms, because Jesus gave us 2 ultimate commandments. The first one is, Love God with all your heart, soul, might. And the second one, he said it's like the first. Love your neighbor as yourself. Meaning that you put other people before you. Selfless.
Right.
Is what Jesus, like you said, compassion. So even if you're saying, oh, God's going to heal me, I got faith. Yeah, but what about the next guy? What about the guy who doesn't believe or who's just, starting to try to believe, but is not quite on your level yet? You still got to think about him. You still got to be compassionate about him. So if you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the selfless part where, again, some people are just so, again, it's just blind faith. I wouldn't say blind faith, but it's, I think it's well, it's like, I can't even call it childlike faith. I think it's faith without,
substance or
no, it's having faith without the rest of what you need to have faith with, if I'm saying it right. Because, like you said, you can't have faith but don't have compassion. Even the Bible says, faith, love, and hope. The Bible puts love above all of those, above faith and above hope. So if you have faith and you don't have love and you have hope, it's kind of useless. You can't just have faith. You got to have faith, love, and hope.
Right.
So if you have faith for yourself, which is great, but again, for this other person, like you said, like maybe their faith is not there. You have to have compassion about that.
Right.
You can't just be like, well, I don't care about them.
Yeah.
That's not what Jesus cared about everybody. And if you're following in his footsteps as a disciple, that's what you have to do. So again, the moral of the story is if you don't do it for yourself, do it for somebody else. Maybe somebody you love. You got somebody that you love, so does everybody else out there. So do it for other people's loved ones, because at the end of the day, you have a grandmother, you may have a grandmother somewhere, you may have a brother somewhere, you may have a sister somewhere, and you want other people to be respectful of them.
To them as well.
Correct. So again, do that, and that comes back around. That's my belief, and even the Bible supports that. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yeah.
But this pandemic is exposing a lot of stuff too, man. So let's jump into it. Okay, let's start with, what do you want to start with? Because what I want to start with is, you know what? Let's just deal with the elephant in the room, man. Because I just like to take things head on.
Okay.
All right. So racism. Here we are again.
Okay, all right.
Here we are again.
I'm wondering where that one's going to go.
Oh,
all right, what do you got?
Okay, all right. This is the year 2020. And we're still dealing with racism in the United States of America. And when are we going to get tired of color? When are we going to get tired of reducing everything to a single color? That's really what's mind-boggling to me. Like, why does everything in the United States of America have to come down to color? Red, blue, black, white, brown. Why? Why can't we just see people for who they are, people? Why do you have to see colors?
I think I actually know. It's
great, because I've been dying to know.
Right, because I don't, like I was saying before, I don't think it's necessarily has to be color. Like, again, as long as there's two different people, they're gonna find some way to differentiate themselves from each other.
Okay.
So if there's two groups or so like that, there's always going to be a form of like a us versus them mentality. It doesn't have to, but it just seems to be something that tends to form like after a group of people tends to hit like a certain level.
Okay.
Or so like that. Even if it's not in a malicious way. So
gotcha.
Like, even if you're at work and there's like, white and black people and stuff like that mingling in a break room or so like that, then you could see like a certain form of a bond between the white people or so, or a bond between the black people, even if it's not in a malicious way.
Yeah.
But we tend to try to find people that are similar to us or so like that to form a bit of a tribe or so like that in a way.
Okay.
So even if it's something like our interests or so like that, we definitely form bonds with other people that have like interests with us. But I guess we automatically gravitate towards people as well of color because again, it's like the easiest one to look at somebody and say, okay, you look like this, so you probably went through the same things that I went to before or so. It's not necessarily true, but it feels like that's a little bit of a piece. But again, it doesn't have to be black or white, because even if everyone was like the exact same color, then people would still discriminate based on tall or short or fat or skinny or high pitch talker versus low pitch. But at least that's my assessment of it.
And you know what? I accept that.
Okay.
I completely do, because you're right. As people, we tend to evolve and we tend to, like you said, gravitate towards like-minded things.
Right.
I accept that. Completely accept that. I understand it.
It doesn't mean that it's the way that it should be.
Correct. And I totally get that as well. Mm-hmm. But here is the thing with me and here in the States. Because, okay, you know me, my background is a little different, and I've lived outside of the United States, in different places, for a good amount of time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I have a perspective of outside of the U.S. and in the U.S. Mm-hmm. So, not saying that, not discrediting anything you said, because everything you said, I can see, I can agree with, and you're right. People will still find something. But my thing is, does it have to come down to violence?
Oh, no, it definitely does.
The fact that I don't agree with you doesn't mean I have to hate you.
Right.
It doesn't mean I have to want to do harm to you or even wish it to you. At best, for me, and worst, I'll just avoid you. Mm-hmm. I don't have to deal with you until I have to deal with you, if I have to deal with you. In most cases, you don't have to deal with them.
Right.
In most cases. And if you do, then at that point, it is necessary to have an understanding rather than your own whatever, intellectual or whatever you perceive you have in your head. It's at that point you need to think, okay, you know what? If I have to deal with this guy every day, I don't share the same interests, I don't share the same views, but since I have to be in the same space with him every day for 40 hours every week, at least let me try to understand him.
Right.
Let me try to understand the way that he does things, the things that he thinks about, and why he does what he does. Right. Let me try. I may not genuinely care, but at least I'm going to make an effort. And sometimes what you find out is that in making that effort, you see that, you know what? I kind of had it wrong.
Right.
I kind of had it wrong. I thought you did this because of this thing, but you're saying you doing it because of that other thing, which kind of makes sense because it's kind of what you were used to, and you haven't seen this other. You know what I mean? You'll find out that, wow, I had it all wrong.
Right.
And then you might actually, dare I say, even start to like the person.
Yeah.
And become maybe even cool or friends with the person. Mm-hmm. I've had that situation in my life before. When I was younger, there was this girl in the neighborhood. I kind of liked her. I thought she was cute, but we were friends at one point in time, and then we grew apart. And then and then she had this. I'm talking about intense dislike for me. Like, I don't know what happened as we were growing older. This was pre-teen, kind of teen, early teens.
Right.
And she just had this dislike, like intense. I don't want to use the word hate.
Right,
I have no idea. I don't want to use the word hate, but it was right there. And then this other girl moved into the neighborhood, which, she was alright, but I wasn't really, into her. Okay. But me and the new girl became friends. Mm-hmm. And the new girl and the other girl were good friends. They bonded somehow when she moved to the neighborhood. So if I'm talking to the new girl and she comes up, I walk away. Mm-hmm. Vice versa. You know what I mean? If she's talking to the new girl and I seem to walk by and like, hey, she'll be like, I'll see you later. She'll bounce. So the new girl was like, okay, what's the deal with you two?
Right.
Were you guys an item? Did you ever... I was like, no, we were just cool. We were just friends. We never went out. We never dated, never did anything. Like,
that was probably the problem.
They were like, so she was like, why do you hate her? I was like, I don't hate her. I just don't know why we stopped talking. And she was like, well, I asked her the same thing, and she kind of said the same thing. Now, in my head, because of the way she would look at me, and she would avoid me like I was the plague.
Right.
But come to find out, we really never hated each other. We just lost communication, and neither of us really kind of knew how to just start talking to each other again.
Right.
And so what the new girl did was, which I had a friend of mine then who kind of liked the new girl, and I was like, listen, like, my friend likes you, thinks you you're cool. Mm-hmm. He's a little shy, he's a little on the shy side, but he wants to say something to you, but just act like you don't know that he likes you. When it comes, just play it off.
Right.
You know what I
mean?
Good
wingman.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So she did this thing where she, brought all three of us together when I was about to leave. She was like, no, Julian, stay. Don't go. And I'm like, okay. So we were just sitting there talking and, a little awkward, like very awkward, it's like...
Even though y'all knew that y'all didn't hate each other?
Exactly. But then it kind of was like, okay, so, hey... And it was like one word kind of thing. I'll throw a question there, she'll throw one back, answer this and that. But then it got to the point where we kind of started talking again. We found friendship again. And then we actually became an item.
Yeah, well.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But it was just the fact that we really had this dislike for each other. And we didn't even know why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We didn't even know why. But then when we started talking, we were like, so why did we dislike each other again? And neither of us could come up with a logical reason why. It was just, we kind of grew apart a little bit. We got older. Mm-hmm. We stopped talking. And it was just like, we didn't know how to
just... Approach it.
Yeah, approach it. And we didn't know how to just, hey, what's up? It's been a while, just simple. Young. Exactly. So we just was like, okay, I don't like you and you don't like me. And that's how it's going to be. You know what I mean? And if the new girl never showed up,
then y'all would never have.
We probably would never spoke again ever.
See, so during those times too, like, since y'all were that close but y'all grew apart or something like that, I'm pretty sure that y'all possibly tried to think, okay, so why does she not like me? So you kind of create inside your head, okay, maybe she doesn't like me because of this. Maybe she went through that. Maybe she did this or so like that.
Yeah.
Or did you try to
I went through all that, and even she did the same thing. She was like, oh, because you would always dress like this and think that you were just too cool for school, and you thought you were just like the best thing in the neighborhood, and all the girls wanted. And I was like,
that's
not even
inside of her head that she created. So she started hating this imaginary enemy that she thought all these assumptions that she was placing on you and what you were thinking.
Exactly.
That's another one of the things that plagues people nowadays is that
absolutely
right. So if we were to throw this whole thing when it comes to like politics or so like that, lots of people on the left or so like that look at the people on the right and say, okay, they think this, they think that, they hate this, they hate that, they're evil people, so we cannot associate ourselves with them. And the people on the right do the same thing for the left.
Exactly.
The people on the left, they cry, they scream, they do this,
it's all up here.
Exactly. They're just creating this imaginary mental enemy that they just project on everyone on the other side. Instead of looking at the similarities that the two have, they always look at the differences.
Exactly. That's like the best analogy I could give you, because it's happened to me. And when she was telling me this, I was like, what? I was like, at that time in my life, I was shy. I was not confident in myself.
Right.
Like, I didn't even like...
cock of the walk.
Exactly. I'm like, every time I walk out and I dress and I'm like, I know people are looking at me and making fun of me. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
teen stuff.
I walk with my head down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, what gave you that impression?
Right.
Like, she was like, well, you always put together well. I'm like, just because I'm put together well, you think did I walk with confidence?
Right.
I was like, you really obviously weren't looking at me. You know what I mean?
That's one of the things too. Like, even if a guy is put together well, no motherfucker's gonna tell him. A female will get complimented all throughout the day.
Exactly.
On how clean.
Guys don't really compliment guys and be like, yo, man, you put together well, brother. Yeah.
Not at all.
Guy code. We don't do that. You know what I mean? Even if you wear cologne, it's nice, and yo, man, you smell good, man. What you got on? Like, no,
like, yo, whoa.
Whoa, time out. Guy code. Nah, you know what I mean?
And then even rarer is for a female to actively come out.
Exactly.
And like, oh, you looking good. It's just like, it can happen.
Yeah.
But it's a much rarer thing.
Man, it was just so crazy. But again, I made this thing up in my head, and I had the same thing because her family were at the time, like, her dad was really big in the neighborhood. He had a big business going. Like, they were wealthy. Not that my family wasn't or anything, but it was just in the neighborhood. They were more popular, and her dad was very active with the neighborhood thing because anytime they needed something, they would come to him because he had money to throw at it. So I started thinking, oh, you're that prissy, rich little girl that thinks that everybody just has to do this for you because your daddy. And I created that person of her, and she was like, what? What are you talking about? Like, I'm the nicest person. Like, I don't even do that. Like, I hang out with the drivers. I hang out with the guys like the low guys, the guys that carry the bags for my dad and all. Like, I'm cool with them. I'm so down to earth, and I'm like, but we just both created an image of this horrible person of each other in our heads, and then when we got together, we laughed about it.
Right.
Because it was hilarious. We laughed about it to the point that we were like, wow. But then, to even get to the point where we became an item, and I'm like, how do you go from hate to love?
Right.
You know what I mean? But again,
they say it's a thin line in
between.
It
really is a thin line. But you know what I mean? And I'm like, and I think about that, and I'm like, applying that to, like you said, current situation. Most of the time we have this image in our head of that picture that we paint of that other person, those other groups, and 9 out of 10 times, it's not true.
Right.
It's really not true. Rather than us just say, hey, what's up? How you been? About? You know what I mean? Listen, we used to be friends. We grew apart for some reason. We lost touch. Okay, you know what? Maybe we need to start over because we're two different people now, and see if we still have the same likes and dislikes. We're still in the same neighborhood together. We can start with that and see where it goes. If worst case scenario, we'll just be friends. Hi, how you doing? How's your day? And move on. But not this animosity where if I'm in a place and you show up, I walk out, or if you're in a place, I show up, you walk out. Like, not that kind of thing. At least be able to say, hey, what's up? How you been? Okay, well, you know what? I'll see you guys around. Like, just at least have a quick conversation.
Right.
But again, it doesn't have to come to hate, and it doesn't have to get to the point where I don't have to hate you because you believe in something different, because you look different, because you do something different. I don't have to hate you.
Right.
Like, why do people just go from like 0 to 100? Like, be progressive. Like, like, it's like that's the part that I cannot stand in America. Don't get me wrong. There's racism all over the world, but a lot of other countries deal well and better with it than we do in the United States. That's just a fact.
Which is surprising because America is supposed to be the melding pot.
Exactly.
Where everybody goes from all different countries or so. And I've never looked into the statistics or anything like that, but we might have the most diverse population or so like that. But again, I've never looked into how many black people or Hispanics or anything like that are in England versus Australia versus France versus...
And for the most part, you will be correct because America is a melting pot of cultures.
Right.
Because even the so-called white supremacist, again, okay, learn your history.
Right.
Learn your history. People claim that, oh, white supremacy, white power, America. Okay, the truth about it is, let's be honest, let's call it space. Christopher Columbus was a thief. Okay, he didn't discover anything. He was a liar. America was already there. He didn't find anything. It's like me. It's like if this, flashlight is on the table, and then, I say, hey, I discovered this flashlight. No, I didn't. It's been sitting there the whole time. You can say, dude, that's my flashlight. I actually put it there. Mm-hmm. And then that discredits me. Now, if another dude comes, I'm like, I don't listen to him. I found that flashlight, and I put it there. And the guy said, okay, well, cool. I don't care either way who found the flashlight, then, whatever.
We both use it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but the thing is,
But the biggest thing there, too, is that, again, people are still caught up over the misconception of he discovered America. He discovered Colombia, America Vespucci, or something like that. I'm pretty sure he's the one that discovered America because that's where the fucking name came from.
No,
America is not called Colombia, is it?
But see, here's the thing.
But yeah, I know there are actual personalities who's
correct. Like America was built on the back of immigrants. That's everybody who came to the country came from somewhere. You were not even the people that were born here now. Yes, I get it. But your grandfather, your great great grandfather, because unless you were red skin, red blood Indian, you're not an original American. Accept that fact. If you can't, I don't know what to tell you. It's the truth. You're not. They've lied to you. They'll continue to lie to you. But it's the truth. Some people now are even so to the point that, I guess, dare I say, awakened to the point that they don't want to celebrate Columbus Day anymore. Because it's like, why are we celebrating someone who lied and who caused the death of so many people? Because this land that we call America, there was blood spilled on it, and then we covered it up, and then we try to make it all smell like roses and say, oh, this is the new land. But then you called everybody, because for you to call it a new land and inhabit it, you have to have brought people from other places. Immigrants.
Right.
Hello.
And that too, like the immigrants are the ones that were doing the physical labor, like the physical work too. So that's even more curious, because like I could see if somebody, like you said, was a Native American or so, and they were here before anything else. And they would say, okay, we were here first, therefore this is our territory or so. But for somebody to be like a white nationalist or so, to be like, nah, we were here first. No, if you really want to be the white nationalist, if anything, you should want to move back over to England and be like a white nationalist over there. Like, where did you guys originate your
roots.
Right.
You know, find your roots. That's the thing that really gets me. Like, you know, no one's an original American unless you're actually a red Indian. You know, and if you are, again, kudos, you are the original American. I will salute you as the original American, as the real American. Everybody else is an immigrant from somewhere. Find out where your roots are. If you come to settle in this land, yes, but understand that what you did, other people did it, and you have to respect it. Everybody came from different places to settle in a place to give them a better opportunity to escape from whatever it was everybody was running from. And that's the truth about it. You know, but for you to now say that because of the fact that, I mean, your skin color gives you the right to be this, that, and the other thing, and then, you know, you get into the whole slavery thing, and I'm like, that's a lie too, because, you know, the first original slaves ever in the world were not black, they were white. That's the truth about it. But they found out that the only difference was white people, honestly, couldn't work as long in the field as dark-skinned people. They couldn't do the manual labor like dark-skinned people, and somebody found out that dark-skinned people, we were naturally doing that. We were not enslaved to do that. We had land, we had money, we did. But somehow, somewhere, they couldn't convince the blacks in other places at the time, because they were like, they laughed at them. Like, you want me to come do what? No, get away from me. So they say they had to go to Africa to get all of just black people and bring them back, which that in itself, it would take like 3 podcasts to dive into that.
I know, this is history above my head, so I think
it's bull crap, because there's so much flaws, there's so much inconsistency with that story that I don't even buy that for one single bit. I don't buy that.
Okay, so without even diving into that, like, okay, jumping back to like people who say that they're a national or because of my skin color, I'm superior and stuff like that, I personally still see those as being like pointless arguments. Again, it's more so about just trying to establish that you are above somebody else. When it comes down to it, we're all human beings. And again, even if you were to say something like, all right, my people were here first. Okay, but that doesn't matter. What have you yourself done? Oh, my people, we fought inside the civil rights and stuff like that. Okay, but what have you yourself done?
Exactly.
For me, personally, I just get annoyed with people trying to take the credit of the successes of people in the past or so. So for, again, white nationalists to say that, okay, we built up this place. Motherfucker, what have you done? You haven't done anything for the society, but, I don't know, play video games and just be like, ride off the backs of your ancestors. Okay, black people. Oh, my ancestors, we fought in the civil rights movement and stuff. All right, motherfucker, what have you done, though? All you did was sit around and watch BET. No, everybody should be held accountable for their own actions, held accountable for their own stripes and successes and stuff like that. But not a lot of people want to put in that effort to actually make something of themselves. So that's all they have is to go back on, okay, people before me that look like me did this. Therefore, I get credit for that too.
Yeah, and then when you have a leader who's egging this thing on.
Yes.
Like it's sliced bread, because the level of intelligence that he possesses is not enough to be on the level where you can lead without having to play on the idiosyncrasies of a mass amount of people, which I might call people idiots, maybe I'm not. But if you believe that you're a supremacist of any kind, yeah, maybe you're an idiot.
Right. No matter what
no matter what you believe in, because at the end of the day, it's not true. But when you have, and then here's my thing: don't follow blindly. You have your own. Well, I would hope you have a brain.
Yeah.
Use it. But most people don't use their brains these days. Mm-hmm. The person you're following that's egging you on, attaboy, look at him. He's not any type, way, shape, form Americanized. His wife is from where? Russia. Where are all his business loans from and stuff? Not the U.S.
All over the place.
So, at the end of the day, think. The person you're egging on, he's only doing that because he knows that I can get support from these people. Right. Because when it comes to intelligence, these other people are going to find out that I don't possess a whole lot of that. Mm-hmm. But this guy, they think I'm a superhero. So I'm going to focus on this guy's. And that's really what's happening. And that's why people say, well, why don't you like, we'll just say 45. They're like, well, why don't you like 45? Or what's wrong with 45? Like, listen, I have no problem with anybody. However, I refuse to get behind a leader who cannot lead intelligently. End of story. I don't care your skin color. I don't care your name. I don't care what you look like. Mm-hmm. If you have proven to me, times without number, that you are a certifiable unintelligent person, mm-hmm. I wanted to use a different word, but I won't. But if you prove that to me, then I'm going to say, you know what, dude, I can't follow you.
Right.
I don't care if it's the level of presidency. I don't care if it's at a job. I don't care if it's in my home. I don't even care if it's in the family.
Right.
If you, every time you open your mouth, I'm like, okay, tell me you didn't, like, you just didn't say that right. like, so you, if I could sit there with you and be like, okay, listen, dude, you can't make a statement like that because of X, Y, Z. You know what I mean? And if you don't understand where I'm coming from, to say, you know what, you're right, Julian, I shouldn't have made that statement. But if you're like, well, what do you mean? I could do that. Like, I mean, I think it's a logical statement. And I'm like, okay, no, you're not hearing me. You can't say that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you still think that, oh, I could say that. And I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm done talking to you.
Yeah.
Because at that point in time, you're not on my level of intelligence to where I'm going to carry a conversation with you.
Right. I think even beyond, or even aside from like the intelligence thing, I think it's more so that it's not just that I can say this, but I have said it, and that's why I'm in the position I'm in right now, and I will continue to say it. Because just because I'm president now, I change what I'm saying. All the people that like what I was saying are not going to listen to the new thing I'm saying. So the smart thing for me to do would be to keep saying what I'm saying. This is not me justifying like what he's doing, but this is me just seeing that he has a different set of values than
a lot of people.
And again,
listen, I'm okay with it.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't have to share the same values I share. I'm okay with that.
But
I'm a very, very understanding person because, again, I've been exposed to a lot of different cultures, a lot of different people, walks of life. I'm very, very understanding to almost to a fault. But again, I refuse. Me personally.
Right.
I refuse to back you up if you don't even have to be intelligent. Just sound it.
Right.
Sound like it.
Understand the
For me, if you sound like it and I know you're not, I'm a chuckle, but I'm be like, as long as they don't know,
right,
I'm okay.
But don't blurt out something like inject bleach into your body and then maybe you'll be okay.
People are dying that have never died before. Excuse me? I don't understand the statement, sir.
Right.
Like, as in, people are dying that have never died before, so do you have to die and come back and then die again? Like, I read the Bible, and even the Bible doesn't say that. The only person that died and came back was Jesus.
Yeah, that's the people die if you kill them type statement.
You know what I mean?
Type statement.
And it was because God raised him up. God is not randomly just raising random people up. Oh, you died? Up, get back up. Oh, you died? Up, get back up. No, you die once and you're dead. Like, you're dead.
Out of the game.
You're done. Like, sayonara.
Later, buddy. Right.
I mean, so it's like, I can't do it. I'm sorry.
And that's understandable.
So you know what? Honestly, every time 45 is on TV, turn it off.
Right.
You know why? Because the next day I'm going to hear something that he said that's going to make me go, That's the reason why I can't get behind that.
See, one thing that gets me, though, like I keep saying, is the fact that within certain groups, a lot of people are hesitant to call out the bad actors within their own group. Yeah. Which, again, I am perfectly fine with calling out bad actors.
I hear you.
For me, I personally like anime. I can call out a shit ton of bad actors in that community. Again, I'm a black guy. I can call out a shit ton of bad actors in the black community. There's some people that are just like, okay, I'm part of this specific sect. So, again, let's say, okay, I'm part of the Democratic sect or something like that. So they refuse to call any of the extremists on that sect out on their bad actions. They'll be like, okay, Antifa, or okay, people who are pulling fire alarms and all that kind of stuff and trying to get people canceled. People are like trying to censor and fight against the freedom of speech. There's a lot of people on the Democratic side that are just like, oh, no, I don't see anything. I don't see anything wrong over there. But again, that's on both sides.
On both sides, exactly.
The thing that I don't get is that so many people on the Republican side that refuse to see any negative thing with that president at all. They could even simply say, okay, he could calm down with the Twitter, but I don't hear anyone even saying that. At least the people that I converse with at work. I could be like, okay, what's one thing you disagree with? Like, okay, if a mobster would have come to you and say something like, oh, you could give me $100, or I don't know, it'd be a shame if something happened to your dog. You know what the fuck the mobster, you know what the mobster is saying in that situation. But some people would look at him and see him say something like, oh, the rapist and sexist and all that stuff is coming from there, and some of them are good people.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that not the same type situation where you know what he's implying, but you're refusing to admit what he's implying? You're just like, no, he's just saying that some of them are good, but there's a lot of bad. You're like,
yeah, exactly.
But you know what he's getting at. You know what he's insinuating.
There's a very intelligent way to get yourself out of a sticky situation if somebody asks you a question. But you have to possess the level of intelligence to do that. Mm-hmm. To where you come out like, I see what you did there.
Right.
I see what you did there. You know, like, you can do it to where you're not for and you're not against, and you just kind of like slither away.
Which all politicians do.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
That is a great characteristic of a politician.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You know how to slime your way out of a...
And I hate it. I hate it.
That's why I hate politics.
Core.
But this, this is not even that situation. It's like, it's just blatant. Like, I don't care. I said it, so what? And I'm like, okay, other normal person, president, leader, something will say, okay, you know what, this is a topic that, I got to be very careful with. I got to, I have to handle this with finesse, and all. But no, it's like you were asked a direct question.
Right.
Matter of fact, a statement to denounce something.
Right.
And instead of you just denounce it and say, you know what, I don't support that. I believe, give a politician answer. I don't support any form of any supremacist. I believe, we're all Americans. We all want the best for our families. We all want to do good things. Just everybody just needs to, stop the violence and let's just put our heads together and continue to make this country a great country.
Right.
Boom. People will say, man, I can't inform for that.
We can't argue with them anymore.
We can't argue with them anymore. But you don't do that. What do you say? You call them attaboy winning.
Yeah.
You give them a pat on the back.
That's what
and then you say, stand down and stand by.
Right.
Meaning that I'm going to need you again soon.
Right.
Don't go too far. What? If that was, you were given multiple opportunities to denounce this thing and you're like, no. Yeah. And I'm like...
But that's the thing that you were saying, is that they have to have that certain level of intelligence. Believe me, I do not see him as being an intelligent person at all. But some of his senses, like you said, are intelligent in a way to, okay, I can't lose my racist base, so let me do what you said, that little wiggle thing of, no, I don't like supremacists. Okay, stand down, stand by, or something like. So he did both. He pretended to denounce, but at the same time did the wiggle thing in between of not answering.
He did the worst.
Yes,
worst job of it.
The worst. I agree.
I just gave a better one, and I hate politics.
Right.
What I just said, everybody would have ate up, and they would have been like, oh, well, hey, he didn't shoot me down. He didn't shoot me down. I mean, we're still kind of cool, right? I mean, like, it will make you think, like, wait, what did he come together? Okay, well, I mean, but he did that. He did the worst job of it, and
that's a question too, though. It's like, okay,
and then for the people, not to cut you off, but the people that are in that set that we say they're cheering more, they saw that as a badge of honor.
Yeah, exactly. They ate it up.
Yeah,
right.
And I'm like,
because if he would have said I denounced, he would have lost all of those people, and he had an election coming up.
But again, you could have wiggled out of it to where it was like you give him an endorsement.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? It's like an endorsement. And it was like, because again, the level of intelligence of these people, it's like, you don't need to do much or say much. They just need a little bit. And you gave them that, more than that little bit they were looking for.
Right.
And I'm like,
again, to re-inspire that base, yeah.
Here's the thing. We're going to round this up, and this might be a good place to pick up. Now that all these people have been exposed, because we know that 45 lost, we know no matter what you do, come January 20th, I think is what it is, we're going to have a different president. We're going to have 46.
Right.
And we know 45 is not going to be 46. All you people that have been exposed, where do you go from here? Because now we know who you are. So where do you go from here exactly?
I would say, if anything, you continue to be who you are. So for me, I am about people being honest. So if anybody did come out and say that, okay, this is how I actually believe, I'm okay with saying, okay, so we have a difference of opinion. You don't like me because of the color of my skin, and that's a very idiotic thing, but at least I know that's where your mind is or so. I don't believe in the thought of, okay, now that you're exposed, let's put you on a list and make sure you can't work or something like that. I do not believe in something like that at all.
Cancel culture, right?
Yeah, I don't believe in that at all.
That's another one.
Yes, because you could easily be on the other foot of, oh, so you voted for Biden. All right, well, you're not allowed within these establishments or so. I don't believe in stuff like that, but yeah, you can't put it back into the jar.
Correct.
Because again, you already came out as being honest about certain stuff, so just keep walking down that path.
Just own it.
Yeah, just own it.
Exactly.
Own who you are.
Exactly. Own
and
who you
have
are.
a conversation with people. Rationalize. Be like, okay, I'm this person because of this, that, and the other. And have a discussion with somebody on the other side so that y'all can try to find that middle grounds of, okay, I don't agree with you, but I can see how you came to that conclusion or so. I don't agree, but now I understand.
Yep.
I don't know, but or I don't know. Maybe you want to put them on a list.
I don't want to put them on a list because I mean it wouldn't make any difference.
Right.
So basically, man, just stop seeing the colors. Get rid of the black and white. Red or blue. Just see the world for what it is and see people for who they are.
Right.
Human beings. I mean, regardless of what your skin color is. You cut you open, you have the same things, you bleed, everybody bleeds red.
Right.
Everybody got the same organs. Like, if a car's blue and one's red and it's the same exact spec, the red one's not any better than the blue one. It's the same exact car. It's just preference at the end of the day. I like this better because, I like red. It's my favorite color. I like blue because whatever the case may be, but it doesn't make the one car better than the other because it's the same manufacturer, same exact, specs, nothing better, in terms of everything. So at the end of the day, it's just preference. So, I mean, I can't judge you because of the fact that your preference is blue and mine is white. I mean, and mine's red. I can't, that's your preference. That's your preference, you know.
We're all individuals.
Some people like sushi, some don't. I mean, I can't say, how do you not like sushi? I mean, you gotta be, no, I don't like it. I don't like the taste. I don't like the texture. So I don't eat sushi. If you eat sushi, you like it. I can't discriminate against you because you don't like that. So again, just see the world for what it is. Do your part to make it a better place, not a worse place to live in. And again, no list necessary, but all this madness, it's like I mean anyone who causes chaos and confusion, I'm not getting behind that. If you can't at least try to bring people together and do the best you can to do that. Maybe you probably won't succeed, and maybe you will. Maybe you'll start something. Who knows? But at least put an effort towards it, not cause a division,
At the very least, don't be the leader of the free world.
Yeah.
Like, if you are going to be somebody like sows seeds of division, then don't give them that level of power.
Yeah.
Let them own their own business or so and see how that business does. But don't have them in control of the minds of an entire nation. That's a little bit too much power.
Yeah,
for somebody
we are the laughingstock of the world at this point. You know what I mean? The respect that a lot of countries had for the United States in the past 4 years has dropped.
Yeah.
And we're not even no longer the superpower. People still think we're so focused on what's going on in the U.S. We're not focused on what's going on outside the U.S. Like, we are not really looked at as a superpower anymore.
People are closing their borders to us.
Exactly. Things they never
Just
did like
America.
10, 15 years ago. It didn't matter if you were an American and you walked into another country with an infectious disease. They'd be like, no. He's got a blue badge. He's an American. Come, let him in. We'll treat him. We'll treat him. Well, and he's good. Just let him in. He's American. Now it's like, whoa, wait, dude, you gotta get back on the plane. Like, no.
Yeah.
Absolutely no Americans here. What do you mean American? Exactly,
change.
that's the problem. So, again, make America great again. I say America was great before.
Right.
You did your part to make it not so great again.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Great for certain people, not great for others.
I mean, it's more like, let's make America hate again. Like,
Yeah.
There was a time most people forgot about the hate. They were trying to actually start to live some form of normal life, and dude shows up out of nowhere, and all of a sudden it's like, everything went to hell in a handbasket. You know,
brought everything to the surface.
But again, we're just shaking up the dust. You know, getting back into it. There's a lot of things, a lot of more things. Talk about cancel culture.
Yeah.
You know, that's a whole different thing on its own. Good gracious. But anyway, let us know what your thoughts are. How do you feel? I mean, I hate politics either way. I mean, we gotta have a president, of course. You know, we gotta have a leader because that's what we decided to do in society is choose a leader to lead us, and we decided that we're gonna follow this leader, whoever he is or whoever she is, whatever.
And just know that no one leader is gonna be the solution to all the problems. It's not gonna be that Biden's now in the presidency and everything's gonna be all right. No.
Exactly.
It's not that he's gonna be in there and all student loan debt is gonna be gone and everybody's gonna be taken care of. Corona's gonna disappear after a year. Or sooner than that? No, that's not how stealing this shit works.
Exactly. No, and you got to be realistic. So, you know, it's not more so that people voted for Biden. I think most people were just in the same boat as I was, to the point where it's like, you know, they just can't get behind someone who's not, who doesn't have a level of intelligence to, like you said, rule a free world with free thinking, with a whole bunch of free thinking people. And it's more so people voted against that than the other thing.
That's what I was saying. Like, that's what I keep on telling people too, is that it's less so, if it'll help his ego, it's less so that he lost to Biden, but more so that he lost to himself.
Correct.
And lost to the decisions that he made himself.
And the things that he said, and, you know, tweeted, of course.
Right. Because again, thinking about Biden, I don't know what he stands for. Yeah, the only thing that I look at him is that he's like, oh, I'm friends with a cool black guy.
Exactly.
For the most part. I'm more of whatever he has.
I know a guy.
You used to like that guy. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little on the older side. And yada, yada, yada.
You know what I mean? So,
but.
You know, at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Things are still going to happen. The best thing is just try to get along. If we stick to the basic principles of life, I think we'll do well. For me, like I said, Jesus gives the 2 commandments: love God, love your neighbor as yourself. If you could do that, great. If not, try.
Yeah, at the very least,
give it a shot. It'll make it just that much a little bit better. But again, you know, this is us. We're trying to get back into the swing of things. This is not, I'm not going to say normal because it's new normal, but we're just trying to, you know, pick it up from where we are and, you know, keep it moving as far as we can. But that's all I got.
Yeah, for now.
You got anything else?
No, that's all I got.
All right.
Pretty good.
Well, hand-to-head salute. And as always, my brother, always good, you know, pouring out our feelings. It gives us a platform to say whatever we want to say. If you don't like what we say, it's okay. You don't have to. We can agree to disagree. You know, you don't have to troll. Just move on.
Yeah. Makes you happy, feel free though, but hey.
Yeah, exactly.
Way,
you know.
You still watch this late in the video.
Exactly. So. Just, you know, make your own thoughts from here and, you know, do what you're going to do with it.
Alright.
Peace. Peace.
Alright, good enough.